today's class. For today, I have one block with me. We're going to be utilizing that for a little bit of our flow as we move a little bit further along in class, but also for some of the segments where we emphasize a little bit more core work. This flow is a core focused flow. So this is just going to be a nice supplement to have to really emphasize some of those movements. So if you don't have a yoga block, but you have something similar, go ahead and grab that. But whenever you have your space to practice, what you need, we're going to go ahead and start on our backs. We're going to start in Shavasana. So just leaving that block, let's see, at the top of our mat, or at least somewhere close by. So leave that at the top of the mat, and then we'll go ahead and make our way down onto our backs. And as you come down into your space, do whatever you need to allow the body to get settled. So for me, as I came down into my space, for just finding just a gentle knees to chest, kind of felt kind of nice. That's where I moved into. But if you feel ready to move right into your Shavasana, start to extend those legs nice and long toward the top of the mat. Arms rest heavy alongside the body. Or if you'd like to start in a more introverted space, more connected to your breath, you can rest one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. For me, here in Nashville, we're just kind of working our way through our recent snowstorm. And we don't have the best seal on our front door, so it's a little chilly down here. So for me to arrive and settle into my space, being a little bit more introverted, feels quite nice. So whatever you need for you and your body, kind of slow yourself down, bring your attention into the space within the four edges, the four corners of your mat. And as you spend a little bit more time here, those breaths become a little bit fuller, a little bit more expansive, maybe even a little bit more energetic. Warming up the body from within, becoming more present in your space. And we'll take 2 cleansing breaths together. So finish the exhale you're on, and then seal the lips, deep inhale, fill up. Finding a little pause at the top, and then open mouth, exhale, clear it out. Seal the lips, deep inhale, fill up. Finding a brief pause before opening the mouth, exhale, clear it out. Seal the lips, come into a rhythm of breath that's comfortable for you to maintain. And then maybe stretching those arms up and overhead, reaching those heels towards the top of the mat. Arms reach long, spine is long. Feel that stretch through the belly. And then on the exhale, that right knee comes in toward the chest. Give it a squeeze. Maybe finding some circles within that hip, rolling of the ankle. Breathing into that hip crease, that compression of belly to thigh. And then bringing that knee back toward that right collarbone, finding that compression onto your belly. And then nice and slow, start to peel the chest off the floor, or peel the upper back, those shoulder blades off the ground, as those ribs start to connect down towards those hip points. Gentle tuck of the chin towards the chest. And then from here, keeping that knee in towards your chest, can you lift that left leg up towards the sky? And then lower it on down, inhale. Exhale, lift it up. Inhale, lower down. 2 more, exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower to a hover and hold. Can you lift the chest a little bit higher? Can you release the hands from that right shin as you reach those fingertips towards the top of the mat? Keeping that connection between rib points and hip points. Maybe that right knee comes away from the chest just a little bit more. Holding here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice and easy, lower down. Bring that right knee back in towards the chest. And then drawing that right thigh over and across to the left side of the room as you find a nice easy twist. Right shoulder is anchored down towards the floor, using that left hand to guide the thigh over and across. Relaxing through the belly. Allowing that breath to settle you into this space. Come on back to center. Hug that right knee in towards the chest. Switching sides. Left knee comes in. Right leg extends long, lacing the fingers on that left shin. And then going ahead and finding those hip circles. Working in and out of that compression. Maybe it's nice to involve the ankle, finding some rolls and movement there. Breathing into that space within the front of the left hip. And then coming back into that compression, finding that space that feels good. And then slowly start to lift the chest, peel the chest up. Feeling that right rib cage draw down towards that right hip point. Feeling that engagement within that side of the core. So you're not going to feel as much within the compression of that left side, but you will. Trying to find some symmetry here. On the exhale, lift that right leg up towards the sky. So not creating a C curve, still keeping that low back flush with the ground. And then inhale, you lower down. Exhale, lift it up. Inhale, lower, 2 more. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower to a hover and hold. Can you pull the chest up just a little bit more? Can you release that left shin, reaching those fingertips toward the top of the mat? Maybe release that left thigh away from your body. Reaching nice and strong, holding here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Left knee comes back in toward the chest, the right leg drops. And then finding that twist over towards the right side of the room. Left shoulder stays anchored down. Relaxing through the belly, feeling that sensation across the back side of that hip. Go on back to center. Left knee comes in towards the chest. Right knee comes in towards the chest. Maybe the chin comes up in towards the chest, finding that little bit of compression. And then at least 2 to 3 rock and rolls along the spine, just to create some momentum, but some control as we make our way into a high boat. At the top of the mat, we meet there. So finding that balance on the sit bones. If you want to hug behind the thighs to help lift the chest a little higher, you can. Holding here. Maybe we release the arms here for 5, 4, 3, low boat in 2, 1. We open up, reach those toes out and away from you. Let the chest drop back, staying connected within the front of the core. So those rib points, those hip points, drawing together, pulling the belly button back. Once everything meets for 3, 2, 1, draw it up, knees to chest, and then drop the feet, reverse tabletop, hands plant behind you, press down to lift up. Those knees reach forward, squeeze the glutes, open the chest, the head drops back. Inhale, lower down, sit bones tap, 2 more. Exhale, press down to lift up, little squeeze of the glutes at the top to help open the front of the hips, letting those arm bones roll open. Lower down, we tap. Exhale, press and lift. Feel that opening. Inhale, lower down. We're going to do 1 more, actually. Lift up, press up, lift up. And then that right leg is going to reach up high towards the sky. So we need a strong press through that left foot. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh. Drop those hips down, seated figure 4. Now we're going to lift and lower a few times here, so adjust your stance as you need. If this feels really compact, walk that left foot out a little bit or walk the hands back to open up your shape. But if that compression feels nice, stay there. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, press and lift. Drive that right knee open, squeeze that left glute to help lift those hips. Inhale, lower down to tap. 2 more, exhale, press and lift. Inhale, lower. Trying to keep those hip bones nice and even as you lift up. Exhale, lift it up. Inhale, lower down. And then in this seated figure four, just let those knees windshield wiper left to right. It's going to feel a little bit nicer going towards the left, but just creating some space. And on the next time the shape falls over toward the left, let that right foot plant down. From here, we're going to unravel and find a Malasana squat facing the back corner of our mat. Don't overthink it. Just plant the hands behind you, pivot on the toes, open up into Malasana squat facing the back left corner of your mat, elbows to inner thighs, thumbs to heart center as you lift the chest. On the exhale, finding a wide-ish forward fold. Pivot the heels behind the toes, hips high towards the sky. And then just taking a ragdoll here. So grabbing opposite elbows, letting the head, the neck dangle heavy as the hips stay lifting towards the sky. So a gentle press to the soles of the feet will help create a little push-pull. And then go ahead and bring the hands back down to the earth. You're just going to come out the way you came. So pivot on the toes, start to turn toward the right, and you're going to come back into that cross-legged seat. So the right ankle is crossed over the left thigh. As you come here, just hug that thigh in toward the belly. And as you find that little hug, that soft twist, you're trying to bring that right sit bone closer towards the floor. So kind of rocking into that right hip here. Let it feel good, keeping that spine nice and tall as you hug thigh to belly. And then release that hold, bring the hands back behind you, turn back into that seated figure four. On the exhale, you press and lift. Right leg extends, right leg comes down, hips come back down towards the floor, lift up into high boat. The shins become parallel to the floor. Here for 5, 4, 3, 2, low boat in 1, we open up, reach those toes out away from you, shoulders drop down, chest is proud, fingertips reach for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we lift up, knees to chest, drop the feet to the floor, hands behind, reverse tabletop, we press up, open up, press down through that right foot, left leg lifts up high towards the sky, bend the knee, cross the ankle over the thigh, drop those hips down. Adjust your stance as you need. We have 3 rounds of lift and lower. Exhale, press down to lift up. We squeeze that right glute. The left knee drives open. Inhale, lower down. 2 more. Exhale, press down to lift up. Lower on down. Last one, press down, lift up. Lower down. And then finding those windshield wipers left to right. Creating space within that left hip. Movement within the hips and the spine, warming up through that space. Allows us to feel a little bit more connected within the core. And then on the next round, we let that figure four drop over towards the right side. Continue to turn towards the right side of your mat. Pivot on the toes, open yourself up to Malasana squat facing the back right corner of your mat. Elbows to the inner thighs, chest lifts. And on the exhale, press to find a wide-ish forward fold. And then fingertips can kind of stay towards the earth this time. Gentle press through the fingertips, gentle press through the soles of the feet to create a nice little arc within the back body. But keeping the head, the neck still nice and soft and relaxed. Trying to create some space within the back line of the body, but also the back of the spine. Some opening into the low back. And then nice and slow, start to drop the hips and turning, unraveling the way you came. Pivot on the toes, finding that cross-legged seat. So the left ankle is outside that right thigh. Hug that left thigh in toward you. And then thinking of dropping that left sit bone closer to the earth. Breathing into that compression, breathing into that nice opening within the back of that left hip. Feel free to find a gentle rocks here. It's so icy outside, so if you hear people passing by, that's what that is. Crunching through. About a ½ inch of ice we ended up getting. Come on back to that seated figure four. Bring that shape up toward you. Press and lift out. Left leg lifts and lowers. Hips drop. high boat. The shins come parallel to the floor for 5 chest lifts for 4, 3, 2, 1. Open up to low boat. Keep that connection within the core. Chest is lifting. That nice open V shape for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cross the ankles, roll over, downward facing dog. And as you come into your shape, pedaling the feet left to right. Lingering where it feels good, where it feels needed. As we start to bring our hands down to the floor, putting a little bit of weight through them. Coming back into your breath if you feel like you lost it. And then within the next breath or so, we're finding our way into downward facing dog. On your next inhale, right leg lifts up high towards the sky. Bend the knee, open the hip, reach through those right toes. Keep pressing down through the hands, opening through the front body. Inhale, three-legged dog, square it off. Exhale, right foot steps outside the hand. Lizard lunge, twisted lizard lunge. The back knee drops. Inhale, right arm up and overhead. We reach and open. On the exhale, extended pyramid pose with the reach. The right hand comes underneath, reaching for that left ankle. Pressing the ground away with that right hand to give you a little bit more space. Inhale, twisted lizard lunge. Right hand opens up. Exhale, reach the right hand through, extended pyramid pose. One more round, inhale, right hand to sky with twisted lizard lunge, right foot stays grounded. Exhale, extended pyramid pose with a reach, right fingertips to left ankle. On your next inhale, twisted lizard lunge, but we're going to catch the back leg if that's in your practice, if that's available to you. Bend the left knee, reach for that left ankle. If you're able to connect, draw the top of the left foot toward the back of the mat, rolling that right arm open, lifting through the chest, letting the chest open up, feeling the front of the left hip open up. Nice and easy release. Wide-legged forward fold facing the left side of the mat. That right arm reaches through, twisting the feet or pivoting the feet towards the left side of the mat. Right hand drops. Left hand to sky. We find a twisted forward fold. Reaching through those top fingertips, pressing down through that bottom hand. Can you turn that rib cage over the pelvis? That right rib cage down, the left rib cage trying to open up. Left hand top of the mat, side plank on the left side. So that left hand's planting top of the mat. Pivot on those back toes, staggering the right foot in front of the left. As we press down through that left hand, reaching through the top hand, scooping up through that left waist. Modified side plank, so that left shin's going to come down towards the floor. Top of the foot resting down, pressing down. Lifting that right leg up towards the sky as the right arm comes up and overhead. On the exhale, right knee, right elbow tap. Keeping the integrity of that bottom arm, bottom leg. Inhale, open up. 2 more. Exhale, knee to elbow, connect. Feel that right side body engage. Inhale, open. Exhale, right knee, right elbow. Keep that connection. And then that right foot is going to step to the top of the mat. Keep that knee to elbow or keep that knee to armpit. And then side angle, we open up. So pivot or tuck the back toes, lift the back knee. Pivot that heel down as the right hand plants. Left arm up and overhead, side angle. Now, as we're here, I want to start to press a little stronger into the soles of the feet to try to lift that right torso or right side of the waist away from that right thigh. So can we do that can we start to do that taking some weight off that bottom hand? So we're using the strength of our legs, the scoop of our core to lift us out of that space. Here for 3, 2, 1. No hands. Press yourself into Skandasana, back of the mat. We sit low, but not all the way to the ground. So keep that strength in that back leg. Pull yourself back into that side angle. Right foot plants, left leg straightens. Open up those arms, still hovering from the floor. Strong lower body, engaged within the core. Press it back, Skandasana, hands to heart center. Inhale, side angle, top of the mat. Exhale, sit low, Skandasana. Inhale, high plank, top of the mat, pivot it forward. Right foot comes back to meet the left. Pause in that high plank. Taking your variation of a push-up.
Coming back into that high plank. And your vinyasa, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more breath here. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip, reach through those left toes. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, step the left foot outside the hand, twisted lizard lunge. Back knee drops. Open up, inhale, twist it open. Exhale, extended pyramid pose with that reach. Left fingertips reach underneath you, engaging that core to come underneath yourself. Inhale, open up, twisted lizard lunge. Back knee drops. Exhale, reach it under. Extended pyramid pose. Inhale, open up, twisted lizard lunge, we drop. Exhale, extended pyramid, reach underneath. Finding a hold this round. Inhale, twist and open. Exhale, find that catch, bend the back knee, catching the top of the foot. If we're able to, then draw the top of the foot toward the back of the mat, opening the left shoulder, the right hip. If you feel really low to the ground, I'm on my fingertips, but you can always sneak that block underneath the hand. Use that throughout your practice as it feels good. Release that hold. Try not to let it snap. And then we're going to find that wide-legged forward fold, right side of the mat. We lift the back leg. We thread that left arm underneath to find the mat. The right hand opens towards the sky. Find that twist. So that pelvis is trying to stay nice and balanced, nice and neutral. Can you turn that rib cage with the reach of the arms, with the press of the bottom hand for 3, 2, 1. Side plank on that right hand side. So right hand plants top of the mat, pivot on the toes, staggering the left foot in front of the right. Strong press that bottom arm, nice reach to the top, scooping through the right side of the waist. And then pressing down through the left foot to drop the right shin down towards the floor, modified side plank. On the inhale, left arm up and overhead, the left leg lifts. Exhale, left knee, left elbow. Crunch it in. Inhale, open up. Nice and long. Exhale, crunch it in. Inhale, open up. Stay lifted here. Exhale, crunch it in and hold. Keep that knee driving in to reach for the top of the mat. Side angle, we open up. Back leg lifts, heel pivots down. Left hand down, right arm to sky. And as we're here, trying to create space for ourselves on that left side waist. So gentle press through the soles of the feet to help you lift up out of that lower body. And then can you find strength, that scoop within the left side of the waist? And turn and reach through the upper body to offload that space. Here for 3, 2, 1. Skandasana, press it back, hands to heart center. We sit low-ish. Inhale, pull yourself forward, side angle. We open up. Exhale, press it back, Skandasana. Inhale, open up, side angle, strong core. Exhale, Skandasana. High plank, we pull ourselves forward, hands plant. Left foot back to meet the right, we pause. Strong and integrated here. All in one piece, we lower to our variation of a push-up. Coming back into that high plank. And then your vinyasa, lower chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. One more breath here. Same little flow. Just a little progression for 2 of our postures. Again, utilize the block as you need to bring the ground to you or help offload your space. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, reach and open. Inhale, 3-legged dog, square it off. Exhale, right foot steps outside the hand. Drop the knee, we open, twisted lizard lunge. Exhale, reach, thread it through, extended pyramid pose. Inhale, we open, twist. Exhale, reach underneath. Extended pyramid. Press the ground away. Inhale, open up, twisted lizard lunge. Exhale, reach and round, press, and engage the front body. Inhale, we twist, we open, we connect back foot to draw and open through the left hip, through the right side of the chest. Take a breath. And then release that, hold wide-legged forward fold, left side of the mat. The right hand plants, the left arm reaches up high towards the sky. Find that twist, using the muscles of the core to deepen your space. Side plank, left hand plants, pivot on the toes, stacker, stagger. You can go back to that modified version, or we can stay lifted here in this space. On the inhale, the right leg lifts, the right arm is up and overhead. Exhale, knee to elbow connect. Inhale, open. Exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, open up. Last one. Exhale, knee to elbow connect. Keep that right knee tucked in and nice and slow. Can we step it towards the top of the mat? We open up into a side angle. Back heel pivots, left hand to sky. We stay here. We try to create that space, right side body from right thigh. We can stay here, or left arm comes up and overhead, right arm comes up and overhead. We hold for 3, 2, 1. Skandasana, back of the mat, we sit low. 2 more, inhale, sweep it forward, arms up and overhead, extended side angle. Exhale, sit it low. Inhale, sweep and open up, extended side angle. Exhale, sit low. Last one, inhale, sweep it over. Open up, strong and connected. Exhale, Skandasana. Inhale, pull it forward. High plank, add a push-up if you'd like, into your vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog. 4 breath. And then moving on to the next side. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bend the knee, open the hip and reach. Inhale, 3-legged dog. Exhale, step the foot outside the hand, drop it down, open up. Twisted lizard lunge. Exhale, extended pyramid pose, the left fingertips reach. Inhale, twist and open. Exhale, twist or reach and lift. Inhale, open. Exhale, reach. Inhale, twist and open. We connect here. Find that lift. And then on the exhale, connect hand to foot and then draw that foot back to open through the front of the right hip, open through the left shoulder. Find a breath. And then we nice and easy unravel, wide-legged forward fold. The left hand threads through. The right hand comes to sky. Find that twist. Trying to balance through the hips and rotate through that rib cage. Right hand comes down, side plank. We pivot on the toes. We stacker, stagger. Left foot over right. Left hand to sky. On the inhale, the left arm comes up and overhead. The top leg lifts. Keeping that strength within the right side body. Exhale, tap knee to elbow. Inhale, open up. 2 more, exhale, knee to elbow. Inhale, open up. Exhale, tap and hold. Feel that strength within that left side body to keep that connection, and gently step the left foot top of the mat. Open up in to that side angle. Find that little lift here, so gently press through the soles of the feet, strong within the lower body, long reach within the upper. And then the right hand comes up and overhead. The left arm reaches like you're holding a big beach ball, maybe even that block in the top overhead. Press through the feet. Catch yourself back to the mat, Skandasana. Inhale, sweep it over. Arms reach up and overhead, extended side angle. Exhale, press it back, sit low. Inhale, side angle extended, arms up and overhead. Exhale, press it back. Inhale, side angle, arms extended. Exhale, Skandasana. Inhale, high plank, top of the mat. Pause, take a push-up if you'd like, and then your vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog. 4 breath. Roll over the toes, drop the knees. Vajrasana. Coming back into your breath. Resting palms to thighs. So our next little segment is going to be isolated core work. So we are going to go ahead and grab hold of that block. And we're going to come onto our sit bones. So the first variation is going to be like a Russian twist.
not like a Russian twist, it's gonna be a Russian twist, but we're gonna utilize that block. So we're gonna come back into that high boat type shape. So you want to find those sit bones. So legs are parallel to one another. They're gonna be out away from you. How far they are out away from you is totally up to what feels good for you, what you're able to find a nice challenge in. But those feet are going to stay grounded for this particular variation. So those heels are going to be down into the ground, toes to sky. You're going to grab hold of that block. So we're going to start tall here, tall-ish, because I want you to focus on that connection. I say this a lot, the rib points and the hip points. Okay, so we're not trying to bring those points really close together, and we don't want them flared out. We want them, so if we have heel of the hand to the ribs, point of the fingers to the hip bones, we want that hand to be kind of flush. So we don't want the heel of the hand in front or behind. We want to keep it in a nice flush plane. That kind of helps give you a little bit of direction of kind of what's happening within your core. All that to say, you're going to have that block pressed between your palms. You're going to start nice and tall, and then you're going to start to open yourself up. Again, nice and flush and engaged within the center of the core. As we press through that block, you're going to slowly twist toward that right side. Come back to center, twist toward the left. Come back to center. Press that block up and overhead, stacking everything over those sit bones. And then come on back, twist and twist. Come to center. Press and lift. Open up. Twist. Center and twist. Center. Lift. Drop back and twist. Here we go. So coming into that nice pattern here, staying connected and strong within the center of the core. Coming back to center. Press and lift. Come on back. Here we go. Beautiful work. We got 2 more rounds. Drop it back and twist. Keep that nice gentle squeeze of the block. Come back to center and lift. Come back. Twist. Come back to center and lift. Come back into that open position. Heels digging down into the ground. Place that block between the thighs and nice and slowly come onto your back. As you come onto your back with that block between the thighs, scooch those heels in a little bit closer to you. Arms alongside your body. Little tuck of the tailbone so we get that connection within the front of the core. Squeeze that block, press the palms down into the mat, bring those knees over top the hips. So we're in this nice dead bug position, but we're going to utilize that squeeze of the block to help keep us connected within that low belly. This time I'll keep an eye on the clock, so we're doing this for 30 seconds. So squeeze the block, lower the block, or lower those feet down towards the floor. Engage, come back up. So we're keeping a degree of tension within the core this whole time, but we're just finding tension through length as those feet lower, and then we're finding that strength with that contraction on the lift up. So finding that steady pace. The closer those feet drop towards you, the less that lever arm is, the more you're able to control that core. But if you're feeling really good with this, those feet can tap out a little bit further away from you, but keeping the squeeze of the block. We have another 10. Final 5. 2, 1. Come back into that 90-90. Arms into a capital T or out and away from you, and then we're just going to find some rotation. Keeping that little squeeze of the block, allow the knees to fall over to one side. Feel that rotation through the torso. Little engagement to come back to center. We have another 10. Beautiful work. Just being conscious of what our core is doing to help us get from point A to point B. Come back through center. Remove the block, drop the hips. Arms alongside the body, press the hips up. Find a bridge pose, clasping the hands behind your low back just to find a nice opening, just to let it feel good. Sometimes those hip flexors can work a little too hard for us. So this should feel nice and opening here. I don't know why I'm finding a rock side to side, but it just felt nice. This is not a rigid bridge pose per se, it's just to find a nice front body opener.
And then nice and easy release, lower down. Bring those knees in towards the chest, rock and roll. We're going to find our way into a downward facing dog. But with that block, go ahead and bring it to the top of the mat. We're going to utilize that for our next flow. All right, nice strong work thus far. So this block is just going to find a little bit extra challenge by just getting a little bit more strength involved. So when we start to make our shape a little bit bigger with less support, it challenges stability. And when I think of trying to find a stable space, yes, it's the strength of the lower body and how that foot is kind of balancing on the earth, but we need the core to kind of pull those pieces together and centrally so that we're stable from the center out. That's kind of how I like to think about it. So that's kind of how we're going to find the challenge of the core here in this next flow. But if the block becomes too much at any point, feel free to transition away. All right? So finding your way into downward facing dog with all of that being said. Find that strong connected space. So pressing down through the heels of the hands. Feel that push away from the floor as the biceps wrap toward the ears. Strong as the chest reaches toward the ankle, reaches towards the toes. Hips high towards the sky. Maybe a soft bend in the knees as the heels fall heavy towards the earth. Still lifted within the hips. On the inhale, right leg lifts up high towards the sky. Exhale, cheetah pose, knee to chest as the shoulders shift over the wrists. Strong press away. Inhale, reach that right leg up and overhead. Exhale, knee to chest, find that connection. Step the right foot between the hands. Find that runner's lunge. So that right thigh is right underneath the belly. Probably find a good bit of connection here to start, but you want to start to press down into the soles of the feet. Engage the core so that you're finding a little bit of lightness of torso to thigh, and maybe a lightness of the fingertips onto the earth. So we're feeling nice and strong and lifted in this space. Once you feel that, go ahead and grab hold of that block, palms to either end. Inhale, reach those arms up and overhead. So feel how that lift of the block now starts to engage the back body. So we're strong within the back of the spine, strong within the front of the torso. Inhale, reach those thumbs back in space a little bit higher. On the exhale, tap block to knee as the knee drives in. Inhale, reach that block up and overhead. Exhale, tap it in, knee to block. Inhale, reach, arms up and overhead, the back toes tap. Exhale, knee to block and hold. Hold that compression. Strong within that bottom leg. Engaged within the core. We open up into a warrior three. Arms up and overhead, the back leg lifts. Strong press through the right leg. Reach those left toes. Reach through the thumbs. We're strong and connected here through the front body, through the back body. Here for 3, 2, 1. Lower the block. Standing splits. Reach those left toes up towards the sky. Press a little stronger through that bottom leg. Nice and slow, we reach those left toes back in space. Arms reach up and overhead, open up, find that crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to the earth. Extended pyramid pose, straighten through that right leg. Drop the chest down. Side angle, pivot the back heel. Right hand drops, left arm up and opens up and overhead. Skandasana, back of the mat, press it back, sit low. Or stay high, let it feel good. Maybe coming out of that right hip feels nice. Here for 3, 2, 1. Half moon, top of the mat. So dig through that right heel, pull yourself forward. That block is there to catch you or catch that bottom hand. Lift up, left leg to sky, reaching through the pinky edge of that left foot. Engage through that left side body. Pulling that right rib cage underneath you, trying to stack here. And then bend that left knee, drive that left knee in towards your armpit, and then start to stand and turn. Single leg Tadasana, that left knee is going to come up and in towards your chest. As the left knee comes in, arms can be wherever you want them to be, truthfully, for your balance. So inhale, that left knee comes up and in towards the chest. Exhale, standing figure 4, sit it low. I know that right leg is working hard for you. Sit nice and deep here. Let that left knee fall nice and open. Chest is proud. Then press to stand, single leg Tadasana, drive it in. Exhale, reach that left foot out and away from you, nice and strong here. Inhale, gather it in, reach it back. Crescent lunge just to open, maybe find a nice back bend. Hands to the earth. Your vinyasa, step the right foot back. Lower chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Moving on to that left side, inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, cheetah pose, shift it forward. Draw that thigh to belly. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to chest, step it through. Finding that runner's lunge. So those hands are going to frame that front foot. When you're in this space, it's a compressed space for the thigh to be right on the belly. But can we create space where there's little? So with that, strong press through that right foot or that left foot. Can you draw the belly off the thigh, getting lighter in the hands? Once we feel like we're able to do that and maintain our space, maintain our shape, grab hold of that block. And I did do palms. I did say palms to the edges of the block, but that can be really tough for the upper body. So if you just want to grab hold of the bottom corners, that's perfectly fine. On the inhale, those arms reach up and overhead. Find that nice little lightning bolt shape. So you want those thumbs to reach up and back behind you and forward. So we feel strong within the back body. Tucking that left hip underneath so we're still strong here. A nice long line of energy through the back line of the body. Exhale, knee to chest, drive it in, tap that block. Inhale, open up, arms reach up and overhead, the back foot taps. Exhale, right knee to chest, drive it in. Inhale, open up, lightning bolt. Exhale, tap it in. Hold here, find that compression for 3, 2, 1. Warrior 3, we open up. Reach through that block. Reach through the thumbs. Reach through the back toes and squeeze through that right glute, all while staying connected within the front body. So can we connect those rib points to hip points so we don't find too big of a back bend here. And then drop the block, standing splits. Press through that left foot. Reach through those right toes. Here for 3, 2, 1. Crescent lunge, reach through those right toes, open up. Arms sweep up and overhead. Exhale, hands train that front foot, extended pyramid pose. We open up through the back line of that left leg. We pull ourselves forward, side angle. Right arm opens up towards the sky. Pivot that back heel down. And then Skandasana, back of the mat, we press. We come out of that right leg or that left leg. So it might feel nice to sink a little bit lower here. So we can find that nice inner thigh stretch on the left-hand side. And then we pull ourselves top of the mat, that half moon pose. So we dig through that left heel, press through the right. That block catches the left hand as we lift up and into our space. Reaching through the top of that right foot, right hand to sky. Pressing through the bottom foot to help stack our hips. Here for 3, 2, 1. Start to bend through that right knee, and then big circle of that right knee, like you're trying to hop a fence, and you don't want to touch it. So big circle of that right hip, coming into single leg Tadasana, knee in towards the chest. Hands can be wherever they want to be. Inhale that knee to chest. On the exhale, cross it over, sit low. Find that figure 4. Left hip sits back, chest is still staying lifted, right knee is drawing out. That's why I encourage your hands to kind of be wherever they come intuitively to you. Sometimes it feels nice to help open that right hip. Sometimes you might need a little guidance to kind of draw those hips down towards the floor. Here for 3, 2, 1. Press and reach out of it, right knee in towards the chest. Inhale. Exhale, stamp the foot out and away from you, straighten through that right leg. Inhale, pull it in, reach it back behind. Crescent lunge just to find a nice back bend. And then exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back into a high plank, your vinyasa. Lower chaturanga, inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog for a breath. Find your breath here. I'm gonna adjust my mat for a moment. Finding another round on the other side. Inhale, the right leg lifts. Exhale, knee to chest, shift it forward, cheetah pose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it through, runner's lunge. Finding weightlessness through those hands, strong within the lower body, supportive through the core. Grab hold of that block. Inhale, reach nice and long. Exhale, drive it in and tap. Inhale, lightning bolt. Exhale, tap it in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, tap it in. Warrior three, we open. Drop it down. Standing splits, the left leg lifts. Chest drops down. Inhale, crescent lunge, we open up. Exhale, extended pyramid pose, the hands plant. Shift it back, drop the chest down. Side angle, pivot the back heel, open up. Turning through that rib cage. Skandasana, back of the mat, send it back. Drop it low, right toes to sky. Dig that right heel down, half moon, catching the block at the top as the left leg lifts. Bend the knee. Reach those toes back behind you, so still keeping that left hip open. And now we're gonna start to circle that left thigh, like we're trying to come over top of fence here. Coming back through center. Inhale once we get to that single leg Tadasana. And then on the exhale, we cross the ankle over the thigh, we sit low. Find depth in that space. On the next inhale, we lift out of it. Exhale, stamp the sole of the foot forward. Inhale, gather it in, reach it back. Crescent lunge just to open up. Exhale, hands to the earth. Step it back, your vinyasa. Lower chaturanga, always welcome to add a push-up as you'd like to get a little extra strength here in that space. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, cheetah pose, shift it forward. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it through. Find that strength connection within the lower body. Lift the torso off the thigh. Grab hold of that block. Inhale, lightning bolt. Strong back body. Exhale, knee to chest. Knee to block. Inhale, open up. Exhale, knee to block. Inhale, open up. Exhale, knee to block. Pause. Warrior three, we open. Strong press through that bottom leg. Drop the block, standing splits, we lift up. Inhale, crescent lunge. We open. Exhale, frame that front foot, extended pyramid pose. Inhale, side angle. We twist towards the right side of the mat. Exhale, Skandasana, back of the mat. Sit low. Inhale, half moon, top of the mat. The left hand catches that block. Right hand to sky, stacking the hips. Bend the right knee, heel to bum, and then press strong through that bottom leg. Big circle of that right hip. Top of the mat, single leg Tadasana, inhale. Exhale, figure four, sit low. One more breath here to feel the balance, strength, connection. Inhale, knee to chest. Exhale, reach away. Inhale, gather it in. Reach those right toes back in space. Crescent lunge just to expand. Exhale, hands to the earth, your vinyasa. Adding a push-up as you'd like. We meet in downward facing dog. Connect to your breath. Always welcome to we're gonna take a few rounds of breath here, just to reset before our last round. So if downward facing dog is a great place for you to be, stay there. If you wanna come down to Vajrasana, if you wanna come into child's pose, be where it feels good for you. Again, to come back into your breath, to settle, to come back into your body if you feel like you kind of lost things along the way. Trying to find that depth within your breath once more. It's always nice to feel that challenge, that increase in your heart rate, that faster breath. But I don't want that to fully get you lost along the way. I want to feel that challenge, but I don't want you to get lost in that where you're kind of fighting to get from one point to the next, because the challenge will still be there. So when you feel ready, one more round. So make your way back into downward facing dog. Feeling strong, connected here. On the inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, cheetah pose, knee to chest, shift it forward. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, step it through. Runner's lunge, offload from that right thigh. Grab hold of that block. Lightning bolt, inhale. Exhale, need a block, drive it in. Inhale, lightning bolt. Exhale, drive it in. Inhale, lightning bolt. Exhale, knee to chest, drive it in. Warrior three, we open up strong and lifted here. Drop the block, standing splits, we lift up. Inhale, crescent lunge, we open. Exhale, extended pyramid pose, straighten through the legs, drop the chest down. Side angle, we open up, pivot the back heel, left fingertips to sky. Skandasana, send the hips to the back of the mat, let that right leg open up. Dig through that right heel, half moon, top of the mat, lift through that left outer leg. Bend through that left knee, maybe catch the top of that back foot and drive and reach open like we did in Twisted Lizard Lunge, using the block to help keep you lifted. Strong press through that right foot to keep you tall. Here for 3, maybe just staying in your half moon for 2, and 1. Wherever you are, you're keeping that heel towards your bum, releasing that hold if you have it, and then slowly pressing into that single leg Tadasana, connection through the core to help support that instability as you make your way to the top of the mat. Inhale, pulls that thigh in towards the belly. Exhale, sits you into that standing figure 4. If you like to be here, you can stay high. If you want to find an arm balance of any kind, you can hook the elbows onto that left shin, or you can find a fold wherever you'd like to be. But we're here for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press to stand, knee to chest. Exhale, reach that left foot away. Inhale, gather it in, reach it back, crescent lunge, we open. Exhale, hands to the earth. Your vinyasa. Downward facing dog is where we meet. Inhale, the left leg lifts. Exhale, knee to chest, cheetah pose. Last go around, you've got it. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to chest, step it through. Offload with that press through the soles of the feet. Grab hold of that block. Inhale, lightning bolt. Exhale, knee to chest, tuck it in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, open up. Exhale, knee to chest. Hold here. Warrior three, we open. Nice long line of energy, strong connected. Drop the block, standing splits. Reach through that right leg. Inhale, crescent lunge, we open up. Exhale, frame that front foot. Send it back, extended pyramid pose. Inhale, side angle, we open. Exhale, Skandasana, back of the mat. Inhale, half moon, catch the block on your journey forward. Establish your space here. If you want to catch that top foot and open through that hip, you can. Or you can stay into half moon with the leg straight, or if you just want to bend the leg without catching it, you're here for 3, 2, 1. If you bent that knee, keep it bent. Keep that hold in, and then press to the bottom foot. Keep that hip open. Finding your way into single leg Tadasana. Wiggles and wobbles are all good. You'll catch yourself at the top. And then on the exhale, find that seated figure 4. When we're here, find your variation. Maybe you're just working on sitting low. If you want to find a twist, one way or the other. If you want to find a fold, your choice. Here for another 3, for 2, and 1. Press to stand. Gather that knee in towards the chest. Exhale, press away. Inhale, gather it in, reach it back. Arms open up, crescent lunge. Exhale, hands to the earth. Your vinyasa. Meeting in downward facing dog. Coming into your breath. Settling into your downward facing dog. On the inhale, high up onto the toes, heels lift. Exhale, bend the knees, gaze forward. 10 count journey, top of the mat for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Once you find your way to the top of the mat, maybe just find a forward fold for a breath or two, maybe a ragdoll if that feels good. Whatever's calling to you. And then finding your way back to the center, keeping a soft bend in the knees, upper body torsos draped alongside the thighs, and gently press through and unravel to Tadasana. Thinking of one segment of the body at a time. Once you get to the spine, one vertebrae at a time. We stack, we open up. Arms up and overhead, we reach. Exhale, hands to heart center. Inhale, rise up high onto the toes. On the exhale, we lower down into toes pose, like you're sliding down the back of a wall. So knees are going out in front of you. You're staying high up onto the toes with those shoulders. Stay stacked over the hips for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And pausing into that toes pose. You're welcome to stay here if you want to take crow pose. You can do that. I don't have the real estate to necessarily do that here, right from where I'm at. But if you are in that toes pose and you want to take a crow, keeping those thighs parallel to one another, lean the torso forward so those elbows hook into the armpits or as high into the armpits onto the tricep as you can. And then drawing the shoulders down away from the ears so you have that strong connection, knee to elbow, knee to thigh, oh gosh, knee to tricep. And then shift your weight onto those palms, gently lifting the toes. Gentle grip of the earth. Or just balancing in your toes pose for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming back into that toes pose. And then bringing the feet nice and wide, Malasana squat. If you want to bring that block underneath your hips, you're welcome to. So you can find a little passive space here. And last little bit, we're going to move into a circle wheel. You can do a full circle wheel, you can do a half. But we're going to come from this Malasana squat, so you're welcome to keep the block there. We're going to start on the right-hand side. You're going to plant the right hand behind your hip. You're going to sweep the left hand in front of you, press down to lift up into more of like a wild thing type shape. And then on the inhale, we lower down, we switch sides. Exhale to press down, lift up. And then switching sides. So we'll do these for a few rounds. Right hand plants, left arm sweeps up and overhead as we lift. Exhale. Honestly, whatever pattern of breath works for you. When I'm talking and flowing, sometimes I say the opposite of what I'm doing. But generally speaking, I want that exhale to help support you through that strength. Inhale is kind of like your reset. Maybe you pause for a big breath in as you open the front body, taking another round left to right. Coming back into your center. And then once you find your way into Malasana once more, remove that block and bring yourself all the way down with grace to your back on your mat. And as you come here, feel free to rock the hips left to right. Finding a nice easy twist. Left leg extends long, right knee in towards the chest. Maybe that thigh comes alongside the torso this time before bringing it over and across to the opposite side of your mat. Just let it feel good, let it feel easy. Let it create space through your body, but allow you to settle. Come back to center.
Switching sides, left knee in, right leg out. Maybe that compression comes alongside the torso before drawing over and across to find that nice easy twist. Coming back to center. Maybe both knees in towards the chest. Maybe a plow pose if you have the space, so arms alongside your body, tuck those knees in towards the chest, and then reach those toes over and behind. So if that sounds nice, you can find that as your final posture. Happy baby if you want a bridge pose. But what I will offer in our final rest is a supported bridge. So if you have that block still with you, lifting the hips, placing that underneath the lowest part of your spine, supporting the hips from below, and then staying here or allowing those legs to reach out and away from you if that feels nice on your low back. Or if what you used today was not a block and that doesn't sound like something that would support you, you can always come into Supta Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together, knees falling nice and wide. And just letting the upper body rest and be supported by the earth beneath you. You can do legs up the wall. That sounds nice too. Allowing the wall to support your lower body. Maybe placing a pillow underneath your low back, so that you can release through the low back, the hip flexors, all the things, depending on what you felt like worked hard for you. I hope it was the core, but in that we are still putting a lot of work into the lower body through that stability. And if through today's class you didn't necessarily feel the core as much as you thought you would, A-okay. With time, with practice, with repetition, sometimes those cues might land today. They might land later in the week, down the road. Allow yourself, give yourself some grace to learn in time, to connect with yourself, your body in time. Because there's always things that resonate with us a little bit more immediately than other things. So it's going to be a little easier to feel the sensations within the lower body than it can be to feel things deeper within the core, something that requires maybe a little bit more coordination or things like that. So give yourself some grace. Come back to this practice if you liked the flow, and challenge yourself in different ways that maybe didn't show up today but might show up the next time you practice it. So as always, thank y'all so much for being here, practicing with me, and taking the time to be on your mat with me and all of my word vomit along the way. My goal is for you to move in your body, learn something new about your body. So if that was something that you accomplished today, that makes me happy. So hope to see y'all again soon, but have an awesome rest of your day.